Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the restart of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. I'm the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Alan, and on the panel, just the Duke, not meaning he's just nobody, but just the Duke Forrest. And of course, our regular third person is Dave Handy, and he partakes in Twilight Golf Wednesday nights until about mid-September. So it's going to be about 6 weeks before we see him. So, of course, there's been a little flu going around the world. So we have not been on the air since about mid-March, and not that we did not want to be on the air, but very simply, there were no sports. This is a sports show, and without sports, it's tough to do a show. So finally, baseball is up, and they're playing, and hockey starts Saturday. Basketball, I think, starts Sunday or Monday, and football training camp opens up today. So we do have a plethora of things to talk about. And of
course, golf kind of led the way back. Golf's been going on for a month and a half or so.
And of course, you look at your TV screens, the Duke and I are about 12 feet apart here.
So no masks. If you're wondering why no masks, you guys were I think, well spaced apart.
Yeah. So, Duke, and of course,
welcome back, Hawk. Good to see you on the show.
I told my wife I might be a little rusty, so I usually do a pretty good job preparing for the show.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I super prepared today. So on my drive to the studio, and I'm only 2 miles from my home here, exactly 2 miles, and I'm driving here, and I was cutting a tad bit close. I forget my glasses, so I'm going to try to soldier on here. So before we talk sports, and Duke and I actually kind of generally start talking weather, and we've had plenty of weather this summer, and correct me if I'm wrong, but 16 days, at least out of Burlington, has been 90 degrees or more.
In fact, I think I can kick that up to 18. I think it was 17. And coming back from the Kingdom, took my kid out to our camp today, and I looked at the Free Press for weather info, and I think they had Burlington with a 91 yesterday.
Yes, sir.
So I think that was number 18, which puts Burlington, I think, in second place for number of 2 summers ago, which I remember well. It was a wicked hot summer. Not a fun summer at all. It was 17 90s, so we had tied it a couple days ago. I think we're now surpassed 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I wasn't around, even old me, I just missed this one as a baby. 1949, Burlington had 26 days in the 90s, so I think that's the only summer with more 90s. And I think we're also very likely to have the warmest July on record. I think one of the Channel 3 folks threw that up the other day, maybe Sharon Myers. And I think unless things got real cool in the last couple of days, it looked like July may well go in the books as the hottest July on record in Burlington.
Right. Thank you for saying
with about
on record.
76 and a half degrees as an average temp.
And I think, I give or take a couple years, on record it was around 1891, somewhere around there.
Yeah, late 1800s, somewhere around there.
When they started doing official.
And lake level, we talked about that.
Well, that was my next question to you is, I've been down to the property on the lake, and it's incredible how low the lake, and I'm guessing, and I don't have the official number, about 24 and a half feet.
I'm sorry, you don't mean 24 and a half.
94 and a half feet.
There we go. 24 and a half would be a real problem. About 94 and a half. Yeah.
94.
So I checked last year right before I came in, and we had really started going down last year at this time. We were at about 96, so we're still about a foot and a half below last year.
That's a lot. That is a lot. So when I throw out a stat, I need a number to compare it to. So if it's 94 and a half feet, what is the average?
Yeah, I think I've got that. Yeah, I think I've got that figure, but I didn't check. Certainly higher. I think last year 96 feet, I would guess, would be pretty close to average right now.
Now, if you remember, my wife took a picture of me in November 4 or 5 years ago. We had another low lake level that particular year, and between Hathaway Point and Mosquito Island, not only could I walk water free, I literally
easily
could have drove one way, and you could have drove the other way.
Yeah.
It was literally Laker Road, and you know that's coming because I can tell you right now, you already can see land between the point and
I've noticed
Mosquito
that
Island.
too. Yeah.
So
it's a low lake.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't bother the marina there in the bay. Of course, it's mostly power boats. You'd probably be hard pressed to have a sailboat that has any kind of a draft in there, but it's virtually all power boats. So I guess they're okay.
You know, due to the fact that there's not a heck of a lot to do this summer, everything being canceled. I've noticed a lot more people in the water kayaking this year. And
I think I've seen stories on boat. I think boat sales, like RV sales, some aspects of the industries are going well, but I think boat sales I've seen are up.
Yeah, I know Channel 3 did a story about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, on RVs, and they had Tom Carpenter on, who has a big RV business on North Route 7.
Oh, yeah, just up the road here from Route 7.
Him and another one from Chittenden County.
Yeah.
So, but as we've noted all summer, and we've been golfing together since we've known each other
for a few years,
for about 40 years. We have never seen a summer with this many golfers on the course. And again, it just stems back to there's nothing else to do.
What did Mike Swim, the veteran, great, also restaurateur at Champlain Country Club, he told us a week or two ago that, boy, it made it sound like, hey, we're great. Anything past us is almost gravy in a way, but sounds like, and by the looks of the parking lot, even when we get there late, and of course coming off their member guest tourney this past weekend, when we couldn't play.
Well, I can tell you.
Any news on that?
And that's omen, whatever, for the type of year they've had, is, I would guess, almost first time in 20 years, they filled up every slot. They had 104 teams this past weekend. So, where some businesses, many are barely surviving. There are some industries that are thriving during this.
So golf kind of did lead the way back, both professionally and, again, we had a little bit of a delay, but
I might as well get into golf. We got so much to talk about, but after golf, I got breaking news for you. But
and folks, feel free. Love to hear from you. Obviously, feel free to check in. I think it's our usual number, Hawk, 528-5315. So love to hear from you. And again, Channel 15's history, but we're on Channel 1079. Our two channels are 1079 and 1089, and 15, 1079, 16, 1089.
Right. And Alan also said you can watch the show live on Facebook. Just type in Northwest Public Access. Of course, I don't do Facebook, and I'm betting $1 you don't do it either.
You're right about that.
Listen, I have enough problems in my own life without snooping on other people's lives.
I did finally get an iPhone. I wonder if that's worth bringing in the future, because I can get texts on that. I'll talk about that with our experts out there. But we'd love your phone calls. So golf kind of led the way back here.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the book.
And thank you. This is Nighthawk was kind of enough to give me the Masters by Kurt Sampson.
My stepdaughter gave that book to me, part of her gift giving during Father's Day, and I said, okay, thank you. Anything I hate to do is read a whole book and rehash Richard Carpethwaite won in 1979. And it's like, okay. Well, this book, and you probably do a better job describing it. It was more of the history of Augusta National, where the Masters are played. And, of course, the Duke went down there and enjoyed all 4 rounds back in 2001.
2001, never forget it. Thank you. My late great friend Bill Moore and his mother Taffy. Taffy's still with us down in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, living with her daughter Leslie Ann. But, Taffy came through big time, and the best sports event I'll ever have. I did make it back for a day, I guess, last year, and thanks to Jennifer Jennifer's cousin Betsy for getting me there, but 2001 was the premier time.
In the old days, that was always called the hardest ticket in sports to get, and literally. But now, in the days of StubHub, if you got the big bucks, you can get a ticket for any event.
I suspect you need still probably pretty big bucks, but and of course the Masters, of course they obviously bagged April, but it sounds like I haven't read about fans. I guess at this point, I'm sure they're obviously, imagine the Masters without fans, patrons. I can only assume they're hoping at this point when the tourney is scheduled for November, so it looks like it's a lock unless things totally fall apart, that the Masters will happen. Nice time of year to do it, but I'm sure they're hoping for patrons. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Now, why do you call them patrons and not fans?
Well, of course, that, as you having read the book, it's just kind of Masters lingo. That's Cliff Roberts, probably a Cliff Roberts thing, and some CBS announcers, as you knew anyway. Gary McCord, I think, the most famous with the bikini wax comment. Yeah. And of course, the Masters, they've kept CBS on a short leash, I guess, although CBS always seems to get that one-year contract, but it's funny. I mean, they could have made so much more money, but Cliff Roberts and Bobby Jones was the other key. Yeah,
just kind of give our folks out there a little brief history of how it started and the power that this gentleman wielded for many decades, and about his demise. I mean, it was interesting.
It was interesting, killing himself out on the course, but Bobby Jones, the great golfer, the great amateur, I guess he never did turn professional, did he? But he was just back in the days when we go back to the three big sports, going back, a half a century or so, a little more, baseball, boxing, and horse racing. I guess golf, my guess would have been maybe number 4 then. Bobby Jones was a hugely important national golf figure.
Oh, you're right. In 1950, the 3 most popular sports:
baseball, boxing, and horse racing.
Absolutely,
right.
Yeah.
But I would guess golf would have been not too far, maybe number 4.
I think golf hit its stride when Arnold Palmer.
Of course, popularized it.
And of course, television, taking.
Right. So maybe it was farther back, but still, Bobby Jones was a nationally known figure. Just a great golfer, great guy, Atlanta, Southern boy, and hooked up with Cliff Roberts, kind of a interesting background, kind of bounced around, but got into, I guess, fared pretty well on Wall Street or with stocks, whatever, but just kind of happened, was smart enough to have some good friends. A little later on, like Dwight D. Eisenhower, for example.
And this is early 30s when this.
But we're going back way before, decades before, right? But early 30s and had the idea of a course, and there was a nice nursery in Augusta, Georgia, and I loved the chapter on it took him 7 months, paying most of the workers 10 cents an hour,
it was during the Depression.
Was working on a farm for 5 cents an hour or something,
and they had a throng of people looking for work.
Depression, perfect time to do it, but they got it done in no time and stuff, and build it as the Augusta National Tourney and the Masters Golf Course. It took a while they were giving tickets away for a while, and the Masters, Huck, having read the book, always had kind of a bit of a love-hate relationship with the city of Augusta, Georgia. Of course, James Brown, the godfather of soul, comes right to mind. Not exactly with someone who was particularly welcome anywhere near the Masters.
I did bump into James Brown maybe a quarter century ago in the airport.
Really?
And I went, and I recognized him right away.
I bet.
Oh my God, James Brown, the godfather of soul.
So how did he react?
He went, I'll tell you how.
That's how we not much of a reaction. Interesting. So anyway, kind of a love-hate relationship with Augusta, but once it became a big tourney, obviously a huge event, as it still is for Augusta, Georgia, which still means nothing. I wandered in there, again, when I caught one day 2 years ago, I had to drive from near Hilton Head where I was pulling into the next day, awaiting the RBC Heritage. But geez, I kind of got lost downtown and stuff, so I didn't get much of a feel. I was just happy to meet the guy who had my ticket. So Augusta still doesn't mean much personally to me, but kind of the black section of town known as the Terry. But, kind of sounded like kind of a typical southern town in some ways. Yeah. Some great old hotels there. And as you read the book, the Bon Air or the whatever, but some of these great old hotels that kind of faded out over the years. But
I mean, we could talk about that.
I don't mean to get too bogged down. But anyway, Cliff and Bobby, got the course built in no time, pretty cheaply and stuff, and just touted it as having a once a year national tournament, and they got it going. It took some years, but I guess of the big four, I mean, wouldn't you say the Masters is kind of the most noteworthy of the golf majors, or not? I'm sure the British Open folks would
I asked
cringe.
you and David that question a couple years ago. What's bigger, the Open? And that's right.
I guess the Open goes back so far.
Right, and I like the way they don't call it the British Open over there.
The Open Championship.
The Open, because we're it. So that side of the pond, to a man that
I should probably, and I love the Open Championship.
Yes.
I guess for the U.S. tourneys, as big as, and the PGA has always been kind of number 4. It'll maybe come up now that it's early. And U.S. Open, I love the U.S. Open. The tough rough, winning it like my man Graham McDowell in 2011 won it at maybe even par at Pebble Beach in kind of Scottish brutal weather conditions. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, the PGA was always the 4th major, and it just kind of we're a little tired. But now that they moved it, of course, this year.
But guess what's coming up in a couple of weeks? It's about to come up. Wherever they're playing this week. I think the PGA, I believe, is a week from tomorrow. We're finally getting into our first major.
Yeah, and it's in San Francisco.
At Harding Park sounds like a great course.
Harding Park,
I think.
So,
anyway.
Just to conclude, the end of his life, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff. I guess
was in
the
70s.
I guess 70s.
And I think he was in his mid 70s. Just tell the folks how he chose to.
Yeah, had some health issues, but just they found his body out on the course.
He went to hole number 7.
Was it number 7?
In his pajamas, in his bathrobe, and just took a revolver and
shot himself in the head.
Yeah, shot himself, and it's he was just tired of living, I guess, at that point.
I guess so, and I guess still not clear. The ashes supposedly were scattered around the course somewhere.
In a pond, I think.
I guess not entirely clear what happened, but but again, his soul or whatever still absolutely lives over the Masters. I mean, the chairman, Hootie Johnson. I love some of the chairmen. Some have a little more life than others, but I mean, the ghost whatever of Cliff Roberts still is just lives over the Masters. I mean, unfortunately, I feel bad a little for Charlie Sifford, who was probably the first pretty good black golfer when I was growing up. Charlie never made it there. Charlie, of course, has bitter words for the place, but over time, they've opened up a little bit. They have some female members, finally, Condoleezza Rice, I think, being one of them, some black members. So they've opened up things a little bit. They really don't appreciate the outside world telling them what to do.
I believe the first woman was not a member until the 90s, early 90s.
And of course, you may remember that now the National Organization of Women had the big protests there.
I do.
Maybe 10, 15 years? I lose track of time. But the Masters folks don't really appreciate being told what to do.
Yeah.
And part of me likes that. I'm glad they've opened up things a little bit. But, it's an incredibly distinctive tournament and course and stuff. They keep buying land all around you. You wonder, I guess maybe they just like to, be in control of more acreage. But anyway, Hawk, thanks for a great book.
Yeah.
My kid expressed some interest, so he may get into it.
And the thing, too, about the course, I believe that they close it right down after the tournament in April.
Soon after the tournament, closer in the summer.
Open it up until October.
Right.
So I'm excited for November, just because there's not much to do in 38-degree and rainy weather in November.
Yeah.
So it's going to be...
Our golf season typically is ending in, mid-November?
Yeah. So, and I will say, golf was the first sport to really get going here, and I really haven't watched it because I really haven't been in a sports mood.
Yeah.
Now,
I just might note on that quickly, it was cool for me because the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head, which of course follows the Masters, and I've been there for, I think a good 15 straight years. My great April trip to Hilton Head with some women's tennis in Charleston en route. But of course, the second tourney that came back, sans spectators for all the tourneys so far, was the RBC Heritage. So it's kind of fun getting, watching it without me being there. But I felt a little bad because we're talking summer conditions, a lot of rain. The course was easy. The greens were soft. Usually it's a pretty tough course. The winner usually comes in at about 13 below, below, 13 under. And this year, God, I think Webb Simpson, the great golfer from North Carolina, a major winner, very good golfer, I think won it at 22, why do I keep saying below? 22 under. And that was kind of typical for about the first month at tourneys. The pros were really beating him up. I trust the PGA, I trust will be a little harder. Anyway.
So I do have some breaking news.
Yeah.
And again, I wish I had my glasses because I was going to read to you.
Yeah.
But Todd Woodcroft, the new head coach,
new UVM hockey coach
of UVM hockey, who was an assistant coach for the Winnipeg Jets, announced his coaching staff. And two members of the coaching staff, Mark Stewart, who was the first round pick of the Boston Bruins back in 2003.
Really?
Toiled with the Bruins, played with the Jets.
Huh.
And that's Woodcroft's connection with him.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give it to you if you want to read any of it. And the second one,
Yeah.
you might have heard of this gentleman.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. Mike Babcock,
Mike Babcock.
the former coach of the Detroit Red Wings, won 3
really?
cups with the Wings,
I knew
and most recently coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was fired about a year or so
Wow,
ago.
as in pretty recently.
Yeah,
Fired
so
of.
I can't read.
I got it.
So, it's funny. These microphones are new, and I was talking, and I thought, oh, my God, I forgot to put my microphone on. So that is big-time stuff. Because,
want me to read this whole thing?
Just read what you think is necessary.
I haven't read it, so
Okay.
let me start at maybe I'll just go through it. Vermont men's hockey head coach Todd Woodcroft announces coaching staff structure ahead of the 2021 campaign Wednesday afternoon. Great job, Hawk. Breaking news for sure. Jeff Hill, 08, will remain as an assistant coach. Former NHL defenseman Mark Stewart will begin his coaching career as a volunteer assistant coach. And Mike Babcock, that's unreal, will join the Cats as a volunteer advisor to the coaching staff. The final assistant coaching position is yet to be filled. Jeff Hill will return for the 6th season on the men's hockey staff. Want me to just go down? Or do we get?
Go down to Mark Stewart.
Okay, let's see. Where's Mark Stewart?
Should be the paragraph after.
Okay. Beginning his Catamount coaching career as a volunteer assistant coach is former Colorado College player Mark Stewart. Stewart is a veteran of 673 NHL contests, along with another 150 professional games across the globe. Stewart's a graduate of the USNTDP program and was a 2003 first-round draft pick of the Boston Bruins. Wow. During his time with the U.S. National Program, he served as a team captain, helping the U.S. win its first ever World Junior Gold Medal in 2004 and another gold medal at the U18 level. His leadership was further recognized when he was named assistant captain of the Winnipeg Jets and team captain for the U.S. at the 2012, looks like IIHF World Hockey Championships. And just maybe another graph. Often as a coach, quoting Woodcroft here, often as a coach, you learn more from the players than they learn from you, stated Woodcroft. Working with Mark in Winnipeg and watching him approach his career as if every day was his last was something that always stood out to me. When the process to hire a coaching staff began, the question started with the what versus a who. Mark hit every aspect of the what, and I know that his approach to this job will be reflective of everything I ever saw from Mark as a professional. He will earn the right to represent this team every single day. Players can expect to learn daily from Mark what it takes to be a professional on and off the ice. And almost at the end, Mike Babcock will be joining the Catamounts as a volunteer advisor to the coaching staff. He's a veteran of over 1,300 NHL games, Anaheim, Detroit, and Toronto, winning a Stanley Cup with Detroit in 2008. He coached Team Canada on several occasions, winning a gold medal 5 times. 2 Olympics, 2010 in Vancouver, 2014 in Sochi, 1 World Junior Championship, 1997, 1 World Championship, 2004, 1 World Cup, 2016. Babcock's role will be to serve as a resource for the coaching staff, lending his experience and perspective as one of the top hockey minds in the world. Coach Woodcroft. Okay, want me to stop?
That's good. But that is just
that's big. That's great.
Unbelievable, because when they hired Todd Woodcroft, and again, assistant coach of the Winnipeg Jets, to get that caliber of a coach down here, that is a very bluntly, a very poor program, UVM hockey. It's been that way for years. And, when you talk about Martin St. Louis, Eric Perrin, and Tim Thomas.
We're going back a few years.
You're talking almost a quarter century now. And they really have done virtually nothing since then. And
not much. So Todd Woodcraft, is that a name you knew?
I didn't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, being an assistant way out in Manitoba,
Winnipeg,
but to get a guy of that caliber. Now, with this pandemic,
it begs the question: what's going on with UVM hockey and basketball?
It has slowed down. I think they pushed the Tarrant Center, meaning the new basketball arena, built from scratch. But their priority is on refurbing Gutterson Fieldhouse. So
is that going on as we speak?
I believe so.
Yeah.
This talking about this begs the question: is they usually open up first weekend of October.
Right.
If I'm a betting man, me thinks they ain't going to be opening in October.
At this moment, UVM hockey and basketball, it hasn't been postponed. Is that
UVM, actually fall sports have been.
But I thought hockey and basketball weren't included in
They were not included.
Okay.
Them being a winter sport. However,
them being a winter sport.
Just a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the Ivy League was the first conference to say, see ya.
Patriot League following.
And in Division III, the Little Ivy, Nescap, whatever, Williams, whatever, those type of schools, Bolton, they opted out. And in line, Plattsburgh State, Norwich, I think Castleton announced today. So just everybody is fall sports, whether they cancel them or postpone them until spring, who knows. Right. Now, I've been going to the Prime Link hockey tournament, which I absolutely love, right after Thanksgiving on Friday.
At Norwich.
They alternate between Norwich, Middlebury, and Plattsburgh. It's those three teams, and they will invite a Western team. They usually get a pretty good Western team to come out here.
Wow, what a great tournament.
And my guess right now is there'll be no hockey in Division III until first of January. So
maybe at the earliest.
So who knows?
But UVM hockey and basketball at this point not clear.
We don't know, but the way they're shutting stuff down,
hard to believe we're seeing anything this fall.
Vermont High School, I saw the head of the sports. I can't remember. John, I don't remember his name.
I've got a story here, courtesy of the Caledonian Record from today. School sports delayed in Vermont.
Right. Let me tell you this. Sports in Vermont, the high schools were, I believe, August 10th or 15th. They were able to start practice because normally
a couple weeks before school started.
School would start like the last Monday in August, a couple weeks beforehand. And, they push school now till September 8th for whatever reason to have more time to prepare. It's like, hello, where have you been, for the last 5 months?
School's tough, though. School's, with all the pandemic stuff, I think school's easily the toughest thing when you...
Oh, really?
Well, think of it. Kids, you got parents working. If the kids end up staying home, maybe that parent can't go to work.
See,
the teachers, I think the school thing is easily the toughest thing to deal with.
But the kids are practically nil of them getting COVID, okay?
Yeah, but it still happens.
And again, you hear different things. I guess you believe what you want to believe. But from what I heard is the chance of a kid giving it to their parents, an adult, is pretty low.
It's pretty low, but it's still not impossible. I think school's a very tough nut to crack.
And I feel bad for these kids. Just 2 days of getting actual face-to-face.
2 days in class and the rest of the time remote.
I know in Los Angeles, they county, LA County.
Haven't they already bagged in school stuff?
40 during the spring, 40% of the students never turned on their computer. I mean,
Oh, no, I'm acknowledging it's a
Right.
huge hit if they don't go back to
Right.
the classroom, but
Yeah.
I still think there are significant issues about doing that.
yeah, I mean, what if, and I certainly didn't want to get into this, but I'll quickly get off, but I've also heard that this COVID-19 could hang around basically forever.
Yeah, heard the same thing.
And
And what about the U.S.? You realize we've got, the population of the U.S. is about 4 or 5% of the world's population. We've got about a quarter of the cases.
Yeah.
So the U.S. doing just a tremendous job with this.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
yeah, I know you're.
I mean, a quarter of the world cases with 4 or 5% of the
Yeah.
population?
Yeah.
How pathetic is that?
I'm not really sure all these COVID-19, they have it. I'll give you an example. Down in Orlando, a 21-year-old kid apparently got COVID-19. Well, the following week, he was in a motorcycle accident. I don't know if he hit a tree or not, but died.
And they call that a COVID fatality?
There's been a lot. But
I'm sure it's not a perfect stat, but still.
So, I know we're dealing into something.
Yeah, but back to high school. So again,
Yeah.
they've been delayed now. Here, this is Austin Danforth in the Free Press, actually from the Caledonian Record in St. Jay. High school sports cannot begin practicing for the fall season until the first day of in-school instruction, which I guess is September 8th, according to the Vermont Principal Association. The clarification comes after Tuesday's announcement by Governor Phil Scott that Vermont schools will have a universal start date of September 8th, a week or more later than originally planned. I guess I'll...
So do the math.
Yeah.
If you need 2 weeks of practice, so Monday's the 8th, so the 15th to the 22nd is
late
2 weeks.
September.
That's Monday.
Yeah.
So football plays on Friday or
And
Saturday.
Saturday.
So you're talking either the 26th or 27th of September.
Which is almost, a month later than
Yes,
usual?
exactly. And they usually have the championship like the first Saturday, Friday or Saturday in November.
Yeah.
If they extend the season, so again, we're just into territory that we've never been before.
Yeah. And I'm not holding my breath on any of this happening.
Ditto. And
Again, I'm not. We'll get into Major League Baseball, obviously. Oh, we got a call. We got a phone call.
Yep. Good evening. You are the first caller on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
Hey, we can.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, there we
Hello,
go.
caller.
You're looking good, you guys.
Hey,
Thank you.
You're too kind. You're coming in loud and clear there. Good to hear from you.
Oh, good. Been listening to you there, and good show so far. Yeah, I wanted to jump on to a quick topic. I was a little bit astonished today. A guy I work with, he's a big sport nut, starts all baseball, football, pools, etc. He came out of the office and said, "Hey, Bobby, do you want to get into the hockey playoffs?" And I said, "What do you mean the hockey playoffs?" And he said, "Yeah, there's some playoffs." And I was dumbfounded a minute. I was like lost in a time warp. And I said to myself, "Geez, we're about August, aren't we? How can there be hockey playoffs?" So, apparently there is playoffs, correct, Nighthawk?
The Montreal Canadiens, they expanded the playoffs. They have no right to be in the playoffs, but they're the 12th ranked team in the Eastern Conference. It's Montreal. In the West, it's Chicago, the 12th ranked. So that was a nice way of getting two major hubs into the playoffs.
So the Canadians round robins, Hawk?
Yeah,
round
the
robin?
Canadians open up best of 5 against number 5 seed Pittsburgh Penguins. They'll be playing Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday. Where the Bruins, a great season. They're one of 4 teams in each conference that get a bye. However, they will be playing for 1, 2, 3, 4 seedings. So the Bruins will be playing Sunday
Flyers
afternoon. I know you like to spend your Sunday afternoon 3 o'clock against Philadelphia. Then their next game will be against Tampa. Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So, last night, caller, I'll tell you exactly what I did. I went golfing, teed off at 5:45, showered, ate supper, went upstairs, watched the Nats baseball game. Then I watched the Canadians-Toronto Maple Leafs exhibition game. Then I watched the Boston Celtics-Houston Rockets exhibition game. So I'm trying to catch up on my sports here. So, yeah, I mean, right now, caller, literally, with football opening up training camp today, all 4 sports are going at once.
Wow. Hard to picture.
Well, I got into the first round pool, and his pool he's doing, and you pick the winner, like the Rangers are playing the Hurricanes.
Yep.
You pick the winner, that's 1 point, and you've got to put down the number of games that you think it's going to take for that team to win the series. So I'll take a minute, I'll tell you how I filled this out. And like I was just half of them, I really didn't know. I had a big question mark, but I got it anyway. Now the Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes, I took the Canes in 4 games. Does that sound off the mark? Or?
I think that's going to be the best series. That one I wouldn't bet a nickel. Hurricane is a good pick. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I would probably take Carolina over the Rangers. So, yeah.
So, Bobby,
the next one I did, Florida Panthers and the New York Islanders. I took the Panthers in 5 games.
They were a big disappointment. They signed former Columbus Blue Jacket goalie Sergei Babcock, whatever, they call him Bob, and he didn't play well with the Panthers this year. That's another tough one. If the Panthers can play up to the potential, people thought they were going to be a really good team this year. Yeah, I mean, the other thing, too, who knows after 4.5 months? Go ahead.
Right, exactly. How about I did the Penguins over the Canadians?
In 3. Yeah, Montreal, again, doesn't deserve to be...
In 3. I didn't want to tell you that part.
Right, no, in 3.
I guess you got it.
Yeah.
So they just want to do...
Okay, the next one was the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Maple Leafs. I did the Leafs in 4 games.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm hoping the Leafs and the Bruins meet up again, because I'd love to see the Bruins knock out the Leafs, for the 3rd year in a row? So, yeah, that's a good pick. Toronto's got a lot of...
Then it was the Flames and the Jets. I did the Flames in 5.
I probably would have went with the Jets. Their goaltender, Connor Hellebuck, probably will end up as the Vezina Trophy winner. But again, when it comes to hockey, more so than any sport, seedings don't really mean a whole heck of a lot. And the other thing to consider, too, is there is no home ice advantage. Western Conference will be playing all games in Edmonton. Eastern Conference, all games in Toronto.
Now, is this going to go right down to a Stanley Cup?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And caller, to take it one step further.
And it's going to be the 2...
East and West, Eastern Conference winner plays Western Conference winner. But when all said and done, if you're going to ask me, when does the 2020-2021 season start? December 1st.
So when the Stanley Cup playoffs are, we're talking November,
I think,
huh?
Yeah, early November, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But they're going to be playing that many...
Could be October, I think, actually.
Whoever gets that cup may not be in their possession for a while, for too long.
Exactly. Now, caller, I do want to bring something up to you. I talked with you a week or 2 ago. Your son is the commissioner of a American League Fantasy Baseball League, which has been held forever at the Elks Club. And to do some name dropping, help me out here. I mean, the fun part of this, it's been the same guys doing this forever, and these guys aren't spring chickens anymore. Jim Fitzgerald, Dick Hebert, or Butch Hebert, I should say, Johnny Johnson, Dr. Johnson. I'm having a hard time thinking of other names, but always one of the
Jim Phillips.
Jim Phillips. Just a great night, a lot of fun, a few beers.
Filter Bodie.
Yeah, and and I guess your son had the final decision, and I guess the Miami Marlins might make your son look good, that your belief is, or his belief is, baseball season is not going to finish. And right now, the Miami Marlins have 16 players with this COVID-19 and 2 coaches with it. And of course, the Nats were supposed
17, there was another confirmation today.
Okay, we're up to 17, and the Nats were supposed to fly down to Miami, and the players voted, no, we're not going down to Miami. And I had half thought they would just go up to D.C. and play the games there, and the players didn't want anything to do with the Marlins. So that series has been scrubbed, and I figured they would make it up later in the year, but being such a condensed schedule, there's a good chance that these games won't be played, which could hurt Washington, since Miami is like the worst team in the league. So, so that was probably a very good call on your son. I mean,
my personal feeling, for what it's worth, they should have just scrubbed the season. It's going to be a very shallow World Series victory for whoever wins it. Of course, there'll be controversy, there'll be drama. As is shown medically, baseball is not quite ready for it. People are left and right coming down with the COVID-19. And then I saw in the paper today where the Oakland A's went into extra innings last night, and Olsen hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 10th to win it. And as he came to home plate, their dugout empty. Everybody's jumping on top of each other. No mask, no nothing. And it was, I read today, like, no, that's just what we want to stay away from.
Yeah. And
it's human nature.
I can tell you the players in the dugout are not doing their social distancing at all. Some wear the mask, some don't.
Bobby, I totally agree. I think it was insane and I said that to Nighthawk first time we talked about it on the golf course. I think it was insane to try to salvage the season. Nighthawk, I forget, do you think, was this a good idea or a bad idea? Are you in the middle?
I think being so late in the year, and we're like 5 weeks away from the start of football.
Yeah.
If we've done without it this long, I think none of the sports should have started up and just focus on football.
But aren't you? You got to be. We'll talk about football.
Well,
I'm sure you got to be worried about the Patriots are already being decimated.
We'll get into that. But watching the Nats off to a nice 1-4 start, it seems like Twilight Zone. They lose, weird. And usually I'm a little down, sad, chagrined, and I'm feeling no emotion watching this stuff because it just seems like backyard baseball.
And what about my Red Sox? What a joke. I think I left you a phone message. I love how Baltimore Orioles are derided as a minor league team. That just begs the question, if they're a minor league team, are the Red Sox even, who are these guys you're throwing? This is pathetic. I mean, starting pitching-wise anyway, what a pathetic excuse of a team. So I'm embarrassed already. I'm bitter that they even tried to force this season on us. Crazy. And we'll see if they get away with it.
Head there, Duke. You've got to kind of wonder if it's worth the risk.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think so.
90% of the teams don't have a chance to win anything, and is it really worth the risk? And a lot of these guys, they've been playing ball forever. Wouldn't it be nice to have a summer off? Stay at home with your family, and baseball's fun, but it's work for them, But I think under these conditions, if I was a baseball player, I'd say, under these circumstances, I don't want to risk it, but, on the other hand, it'll be good having a summer off, be with the family and, whatever. But
I'll tell you what.
Money obviously comes to mind, I guess.
My thought on this whole thing,
I hear you.
Who knows if you're going to have more of this. So
Yeah,
only
I'll
time
tell you
will tell.
what, the Red Sox will have a horrible record this year, and that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Here's a team that normally drafts around 28th
Right.
in the
Draft-pick-wise,
draft.
sure.
The Red Sox, and I'll be honest, a couple nights ago they had somebody starting.
Mr. Osich?
And
Who are these people?
I had no clue who he was.
Neither-
And the guy
neither
that he
I.
came in, and I literally had to go on the computer, click on their name to see
Yeah.
their career.
No, I'm the same way.
And it's all half-hearted this year. If you win, so the Red Sox could end up with a top 5 draft pick
Yeah.
next June.
Yeah.
Chris Sale is out. Arguably a top 3 pitcher in all of baseball.
He
Erod
definitely
is
picked
out.
a good season to do
Okay,
it.
so they will go out because they will actually have money come November when the offseason starts
Yeah.
to go out and get themselves a bona fide great pitcher.
Yeah.
So next year you'll have Sale, this free agent pitcher, Evaldi, Erod. They'll have a very formidable staff. This year, it's just a bad year.
Yeah.
And for the fans out there that are whining about Mookie Betts signing that 12-year
Right, that
contract,
issue is kind of resurfaced. Give me a break.
the Red Sox had no money. It wasn't a present day issue. It was a past issue of bad contracts given out. And, they finally met the Grim Reaper, and they had to take a step back this year. And they're not rebuilding. They have to retool this offseason.
And the Dodgers, Mookie got what, 365 plus a $50-60 million sign? I think about $435 mil.
Is that
for 12 years? I
Yeah.
think it's well
Yeah.
over 400
Yeah.
mil.
I mean,
but now I'm hearing, why didn't the Red Sox try to sign him? Give me a break,
listen,
people.
like Jackie Bradley will be a free agent.
Jackie leading the league in hitting
Right.
after a couple
Yeah.
games.
It's all about pitching, and as I sit here as a world champion,
Yeah.
the Nationals do it right. We have a mediocre hitting, especially with Rondon gone and Zimmerman taking the season off.
Yeah.
We're having a hard time scoring,
But pitching, he got pitching.
we gave Steven Strasburg a 7-year, 35 per.
Yeah.
So do the math on that. And Scherzer, in a 6th year of a 7-year contract, who is on his way to Canton, Ohio. It's all about pitching.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox, and you hate to do it because Chris Sale might be the example. He got a big contract, which he earned, deserved, but
Well, maybe with his arm in red, and I was all for it in retrospect.
I was too.
That
You
contract
have
maybe
to
is a
take
little
that
dubious.
risk with a top quality pitcher.
Yeah.
Will Chris Sale come back? I don't know.
We'll see.
But
Red Sox better hope so.
But with all that being said, as usual, good or bad, the Red Sox, they're still scoring a ton of runs.
Well,
now
they did the first game anyway.
They're pitching ERAs at 6 or over 6,
Is it that
and
low?
their whip is like 1.68 right now. And it's a bad staff. I know it, you know it, the caller knows it, and it's going to be that type of year. But again, if you're ever going to have a bad season,
I
this
agree.
is the year to do it. Because
agree.
football's starting in 5-6 weeks.
Well,
you don't have to pay attention.
you
Maybe.
hope.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, no, I agree. Right?
dude, for all I know, in a month from now, this show could go off air again.
Sure.
Because there's no sports to talk about
Sure,
again.
you're right. Sorry, Bobby, you still with us?
You know what I would do, too, if I was the Sox? I would give Evaldi, like, maybe 30 or 40 innings, then I'd DL him for the rest of the season.
Just to save him.
Just let him get loosened up, air it out, for 6-7 starts, and then I'd shut him down. And like you said, come back for that nice staff next year.
Yeah.
Now, another interesting thing I found, the kid that they trade Mookie for, he had a couple good games for the Sox. So,
For
it's
Dugo,
not
if I got his name
Listen.
He walked and we got nothing in return.
Yeah.
You're right.
Good point. He
He's
sounds
not
like he
chopped
can play.
liver. Considering David Price opted out this year.
Yeah, my good friend David
And
Price.
the Red Sox traded a player away that's only playing 60 games. This was an incredibly good trade. Now, I think Verdugo will be a type of player you want. I think he's going to be a better than average player, but he won't be a superstar. But that's the type of guy you want because his contract will be a $15-20 million contract, like Benintendi, who's off to Russ. I think he's
start.
the same type player that he's better than average, but he won't be a superstar. A nice controlling contract to have for
Just to be clear about Mookie, I love Mookie. Mookie. There's what's I
Yeah.
mean, what a wonderful.
Now, one question. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, dude.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. That's fine. Go.
One question I have. Benedetti didn't hit well at all last year.
Didn't have a good year.
He's off to a very slow start this year.
Yeah.
Could it be they figured him out? Pilar is hitting very well for the Red Sox.
Yeah, good player.
Bradley's hitting very well. And this kid that came over from the Dodgers is hitting very well. Should we be looking perhaps at Benedetti as the fourth outfielder?
Could be. You're right. He's coming off not a good year. I'm sure they were after having a good year before that. They were obviously thinking he would bounce back and stuff. But if he, I mean, geez, we're talking another 55 games.
I'll tell you what. You let Jackie Bradley go. This Kevin Pilar, as good as Bradley is
Good ball
defensively,
player.
Pilar is even better.
He's made a great catch on the second pitch of their first game.
And the other great center fielder, and he had played for Tampa, I think, and I can't remember the name of this guy. It escapes me. But those were the two absolutely best center field. Oh, yeah, Pilar can jump right in center field next year.
I guess Pilar's on a 1-year contract, so he may be gone.
He's
But good
31.
player.
The guy still can play.
I was just going to say about Mookie, just to be clear, what's not to like? What a wonderful guy. I mean, I would have loved to have had, as any Red Sox fan would have had him had his career in Boston. But when it gets up to $400 million, I mean, give me a break.
Right.
And you'd be quick to say, especially for a position player, Hawk, right?
Right. You couldn't afford him. Devers is going to need a contract in a couple years. Now, all I can tell you, look around. How many really good third basemen are out there? Not many. Yeah. It's a lot easier to replace an outfielder than a third baseman. Yeah. And Bogarts.
How many has another, 3 or 4 years, I think?
And the thing about it is, with that big money there, that can buy a lot of pitches.
Yes.
Yeah, you think so.
And that's where the Red Sox will spend this year. They had
hitting is not the Red Sox problem, never has been. And I'm sure that's another reason he wasn't signed. It's yes, we will miss him in the clubhouse. Well, he's just a great leader, great player. Yeah. But you've got to be smart with your money as where to put it.
Hey, caller,
instead of scoring 6 runs every game, we may only score 5, but you've got to have the pitching.
Yeah. Caller, your favorite player contract will be up come October. Rusney Castillo.
Oh, God. That's funny. Has this guy got a chance to finally show up somewhere for somebody?
At work. It seems like he's been in the organization for 20 years.
Forever, yeah.
What did he sign? 5 years, 75
mil
for 5 years, $15 million a year.
Sounds right.
And he hasn't been in a dugout in about 3 years.
Some of the Red Sox contracts don't even. Pablo, of course, Pablo Sandoval sounds like doing just fine.
Martinez's contract is up as well.
Yeah.
So
he's got another opt-out anyway.
I think the Red Sox, probably the brass, are looking ahead to next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, given what they're throwing out for starting pitchers, they got to be.
And the other good thing, too, with all these unknown pitchers, the chances are one of these bums will actually turn out to be a good pitcher.
Could be.
That could be a number 5 starter on the team next April.
But back to Mookie for a second, I still hear some of your top baseball people out there. I still hear it. They drive me crazy. How could the Red Sox have let this guy go? How about because they didn't feel like throwing out $400 million?
Right. They simply don't have the money.
Crazy?
And again, Devers and Bogarts have to be signed, period.
Yeah.
And Alex Verdugo's no Mookie, but like I said, the kid's going to be a very solid player. Yeah. And for all what's wrong with the Red Sox, scoring runs won't be an issue, never has been an issue with this team.
Yeah, not usually.
Now, if you check the last 5 years with the Red Sox, they've either been first or second in Major League Baseball in scoring runs. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I'm just sorry we're seeing. I'm just sorry this season happened. Okay, guys, good talking to you again, and I'm glad the show's back on, and we'll call next week and see how things are going.
Thank you, caller.
Thanks a lot for checking in, Bobby. Stay healthy, buddy. Thanks.
And usually after a call, I'd like to say the phone number, but I can't remember it.
528-5315. 528-5315.
That's pretty good, dude.
Slightly in my mind,
let's touch on football. Okay, the Patriots lost
Jeez,
pretty
what a-
good
what a hit.
quarterback in the offseason.
Not bad.
And, they signed a quarterback that nobody wanted, Cam Newton. And his contract was a one-year contract.
Nobody, I think a lot of Pats fans are very happy they signed him.
1 year
Nobody
for
else wanted him.
$1.05 million.
And incentives would get him up to about $7 million.
700 per game. 700,000 per game,
Yeah.
which will cap off at $7.5 million. I don't like he's still Cam Newton. I don't like his personality, blah, blah, blah.
But I think it was a very good pickup by the Pats.
Good pick.
And who knows, maybe he'll change his ways.
And the Patriots could have a Boston Red Sox year this upcoming season, which is fine. I still think Stidham's got potential to be a good quarterback. However,
but what about the hits they've taken?
The Patriots at this point has 6 players that have opted out,
including 3 big, Mr.
Yes.
Hightower, Chung,
fullback
Cannon,
Dan Vitale, tackle Marcus Cannon, linebacker Dante Hightower, running back Brandon Bolden, who's an excellent
Who's good. I
special
like
teamer, and safety Patrick Chung, and I'm missing one other player.
Right,
in
but
there.
Hightower, Chung, and Cannon, the
Absolutely.
biggies.
And I was telling my buddy Joe on the golf course, or Kevin, whoever, I said, at this time of the year, you just don't replace these people. This does not bode well for the Patriots. And again, you can look at this upcoming season like it's not really real this year.
So, maybe. What about your Giants? Have you lost anybody of note?
Good question. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Late this afternoon, left tackle, huge disappointment. The highest paid tackle in football. Nate Soldier, former
guy.
Going into his 3rd season, getting $19.5 million.
Wow.
The guy is one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Right.
However, he is a super bum of a football player.
Boy, is that right? That harsh?
Oh, he's horrible. And what did the Giants do in end of April during the draft? They selected Andrew Thomas, 4th overall pick out of Georgia, left tackle. Now, the debate was...
So what do they do with Nate?
Nate's not coming back this year. And the problem...
just because of the pandemic situation.
Right. You have the right. Now...
Does he get all his money?
He gets a stipend of $150,000 if you opt out. Now, if you opt out with an injury, whatever, they'll give you $350,000.
But he's losing about $19 million?
Yes.
Really?
No. Yes. No. His contract will be pushed to next year, where this year would have. Or next year would have been his final year. He's got 2 more years on his contract. Now, and again, not much to talk about during the summer, but in the Giant camp, does the 1st round, 4th overall pick, Andrew Thomas, who's a natural left tackle, does he start the season at left tackle, or does he play right tackle until Soldier? Well, there's no controversy now. Andrew Thomas will be starting, and now we'll have to look who's going to play right tackle, which are a couple backup people.
Right. You got to think. They may already have tried to move him. Would they try to do, David Price and just try to give him away or pay half this? Does that happen in football like baseball?
Well,
I never hear about that in football.
Happen so rarely, and trust me,
trades just don't happen much.
I love Soldier, just a fine individual, but he's just a horrible football player.
Really?
Yeah. And I told you when he signed. Better than average, but not a star. He was a B type player.
Yeah.
He's only played 2 years, and I think I have to sneeze. His first half of the first year, horrible. Second half, he played pretty well. Last year, he played poorly all last season. Now, the Giants won 4 games last year, and I was hopeful for a good season this year, maybe winning 7 games. But, boy, I don't know. And here we are, the opening today of training camp, and we're all tied for first place with a 0-0 record. But I'm not holding a lot of excitement.
What do you think? You think that at this point, are you even confident the season starts as planned?
I do. There won't be any fans in the stadium. Now, I don't know if you looked at.
So is that clear? No fans indefinitely, or
I know the governor Murphy of New Jersey. Was that Phil Murphy? I can't.
I think it might be Phil.
Yeah, he said no fans until further notice in the
But
Meadowlands.
it's a team by team. There's obviously no.
I think it's more state by state.
So the NFL, Goodell won't decree anything, you don't think?
Well, I would say, Duke, where Florida is more hard hit, you got Tampa, Miami, and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
The governor of that state, help me out.
Ron DeSantis.
He could declare no fans. Where you get like Seattle, Washington doesn't have much going on up there now. With
Right,
COVID.
nothing going on in Seattle.
It's just certain sectors of the country. So, but I think it'll be a uniform decision.
Well, you think, I mean, it just seems totally unfair. I mean, it's fair for the Patriots to have, what's usual 70,000 and
Yeah,
the Giants
I just
to have
don't see it.
nobody?
I think,
doesn't the NFL have to come down with a league-wide decision? I can't believe.
that's exactly.
How can it possibly be up to each team?
Yeah,
How fair is that?
Right. I don't believe. I think it will be a Roger Goodell decision.
But nothing yet.
And you know how the salary cap goes up every year, about $10 million?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you it won't be going up next year because they're just going to lose a ton of revenue.
Right.
When ticket prices, anywhere from $100 to $800 a ticket, in at Giant Stadium, or I should say MetLife Stadium, they hold 82,000 people, I think,
Is that right?
there, and they're always filled. So
What was Giant, the old Giant Stadium?
76,000.
So it's not that much bigger.
I prefer the old stadium.
Right.
I don't care for MetLife.
But football's huge. I mean, that's huge for you. If you were to hear tonight, we're bagging football season, we can't deal with it. I mean, you can deal with baseball going south.
Well, I will tell you, I've learned a little something about myself this year, that I can live without sports.
Yeah,
And I've told you before, I'm reading more than I have since junior high school.
Yeah.
And, I'm sitting in the backyard
Yeah.
or the lake and actually enjoy reading.
That's
in
great.
fact,
That's great.
I'm reading, I made a copy. Of course, he's not in the control room, but I made a copy of the book. What I'm currently reading is Northern Vermont in the War of 1812
Really?
by Jason Barney, who lives up in
Oh, really?
Swanton.
I didn't know
I think
Jason
he
well.
teaches at
Still a teacher at
Missisquoi.
MVU, I think.
And when you say that was an easy read, that book, this is a difficult read.
I bet.
It's almost like reading a high school or college
Well,
textbook.
if you think that's bad, let me show you the book Ian's been reading, and I read it to him, a little history of the Arabs,
Okay.
about 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
Each page has a name, Ibn Abu whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, Ian, this is just such tough reading.
And my complaint, sometimes I'll say, Duke, I'm going on vacation. I need a couple books.
Yeah.
And he'll give me like 5 books.
Yeah.
And I open it up first. Look, font's too small.
Yeah.
And the font's pretty small here.
Really?
But what's interesting about this is it's a lot of Swanton, Alberg,
great. Wow.
Burlington, Plattsburgh.
And Jason, kudos to Jason, who's a great
and that
guy.
book came out last year, and I never...
I knew he had a book out, but hey, good for you.
I
for
got
you.
that from the library. And the other thing, too, about the library, which is really cool, is you don't have to wander in the library. You go online, St. Albans Library, and I like biographies or history books, and I just type in the genre of the book I want to read, and they all come up.
Really?
And I just scroll through them, click on it, and actually I'll write it down, give it to my wife. She's a computer genius.
Yeah.
You order it.
And just go pick it up.
Pick it up. You ring the doorbell.
Wow.
And I'll say, books for Donna Tatro.
Really?
And they have a little bag with their name on it, and bang, you're 15 seconds in and out.
That's great. Although I look forward to the days when I can walk back into my library book sales that I feast on. It's so weird not having them.
And my next book I'll be reading, a gift from my stepdaughter out of Clear Blue, just came out this week. The answer is, it's Reflections of My Life by Alex Trebek.
Oh, really?
Alex Trebek, who's got pancreatic cancer.
Right.
And boy, he's hung on for a year and a half with it. So he just wrote an autobiography, and it just came out, what's today, Wednesday? I think last week. So I've got that sitting at home for me to read. But back to football, Patriots. I certainly now... forget the quarterback position. Dante Hightower, their best player on the team is Stephon Gilmore. Certainly a top 3 corner in all of football. But Dante Hightower is a superior player. Cannons they're all good players. So
is that seemingly one of the biggest hits you've heard of any team?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Because up to today, the Giants had 0 hits.
Really?
And from what I'm reading is more to follow.
Really?
Yeah.
And boy, the McCourty brothers, the McCourty twin brothers, I guess, Jason and Devin, his brother. Boy, and they do podcasts all the time. Don't happen to be a big podcast guy, but Jason McCourty, who's pretty open about stuff, pretty straightforward guy, he's certainly making it sound like he's got some serious concerns about this season.
Yeah.
So that may not be the end of it at all.
Yeah.
I would just tell you, don't totally hold your breath on football. Why would you hold your breath on anything?
Now, are you going to watch the Bruins? I mean, they're a legitimate Stanley Cup team.
I guess I should. Like I said, I'm bitter about baseball. I think they're just trying to force something they never should have forced.
You know how I complain.
Hockey and basketball, the seasons are almost over, so it's much more reasonable to me to try to finish off their seasons just because we're through, 95% of them? But still, I'm hardly paying attention. I'm hardly psyched about them.
Yeah.
I guess I'll watch them.
I can't envision you, game 1, Sunday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Forget it. Not happening.
Right. And I keep telling you, get a DVR.
To be honest, I'd be watching, if I'm happy to be watching TV, I'd be watching the last round of whatever the tournament is.
Yeah. So, and of course,
no, I'm not psyched about any. Are you psyched about your Celtics at this point?
In the words of Barry Manilow.
Yeah. There's my good friend Buzzy O'Shea called him Barry Manifold.
Yeah, who I did see in concert in Boston.
Really? I like Barry.
I took my mother to that. Was about 15 years.
Who loves Barry?
Yeah, it was a great show.
That's great.
Do you remember the song "Trying to Get the Feeling Again"?
No, sure.
Okay, well, that's the emotion I'm going through with sports. It'll come back.
Yeah.
Now,
but how much did the Nats come right back, or will that? And again, they're not off to a good start.
They're 1-4, can't hit, playing horrible defense, a lot of base running mistakes. But it's strange with no fans. Now, hockey. As I said, I watched Canadians and Leafs last night.
Really?
When the cameras are on the ice, it's so fast of a sport.
Yeah.
You don't really notice, and they do an unbelievable job around the rink and the basketball court. They got it kind of like tarped off, but it looks really nice.
Not cut up figures, I hope.
Basketball.
Baseball. I mentioned that to my kid, who's not a big sports guy.
Okay, basketball last night. It was like cartoon electronic around there, and that was somewhat cornball. So it is going to take some getting used to, and perhaps it's only for the die-hard. And also, if you've lived with, April, May, June, we've done 4 months without baseball. If you survived without it, you probably can tell yourself, I can,
But for you, to a lesser extent, me, but to some extent, but for you, golf, just being able to play golf has just been, lifesaver pretty much. It's been pretty important.
Golf's always been important. I'm a mediocre player, just an average player.
You play some good golf.
Yeah, but it's always I'm a few pounds overweight.
Hey, it's exercise.
But I walk all the time. It's great exercise, and it's great for the mental health.
Sure, your good buddy Joe Joe Whittemore, great company, and your son-in-law to be Mr. Kevin, great guy.
The Russians could be sending a ballistic missile right at us. I've got a 160-yard shot. I could care less about that missile coming right in the center of the golf course. Yeah. It's like, okay, what club am I selecting here? And it's good. And we talk a lot on the golf course, and my buddy Joe, he's always got a music trivia question.
Yeah, you guys are great trivia people.
And I will say, not boastfully, but myself and my friend Joe Whittemore will challenge anybody into music trivia for 50s, 60s, and 70s. We'll play anybody.
Oh, I totally buy that. I hear enough of you guys. You guys are very good.
Yeah, and
kudos. Nice Champlain. I think Champlain have been coming off a few relatively lean years, I think. So no, it's great that they're having some booming business. Good for them.
Have a great superintendent. The couple beforehand were not all that swell, but this guy,
he's getting rave reviews. Mr. Is it Sayer?
Chris Ayer, thank you. This guy knows what he's doing, and
Mr. Mike Swim. I mean, what a good guy. It sounds like I got to log a little time in the restaurant, which you do, but it sounds like he does a very nice job with the restaurant.
We'll get Mike on right before the Masters in November.
If not before, especially, maybe we can get him on before even. But good guy.
Yeah. Now, as far as basketball is concerned, they're playing 8 regular season games before they get into the playoffs.
Oh, you know more than me.
So
and they've just started. They've just last few nights they've had their first
2 exhibition games.
Games.
And they're in Wisconsin Friday night against the Bucks.
That's a real game.
Yeah, at 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, they have 8 regular season games. So
wow.
And the Celtics are a very good team.
Yeah. Very good team.
Milwaukee, arguably the best player in all of basketball.
Greek freak. That's all you can get out of me.
Right. And I can't pronounce his name, so we'll call him the Greek freak.
Giannis. I'm not even going near his last name. Hey, actually, a Duke Celtic connection, which you might have taken. I forget if I mentioned it, but this is very good news for Duke. My Duke friend Roy, my Underhill, Vermont, who's on top of Duke sports 100 times more than me. But it turns out Duke basketball used to be a big-time program. Gail Gueston course. In fact, of course, I see it with all the repeats they throw at you these days. I never watch them, but what do I come across about a month ago? The Duke-Maryland women's final, NCAA final game. All Duke had to, going back.
What year?
Going back about 20 years.
Okay.
But Duke was a top team then. All Duke had to do was hold the ball at the end. They've got like a 3-point lead. I think they turn it over. Maryland, of course, hits a 3-pointer with 1 second left to kick it into OT. Maryland, of course, win. Duke still doesn't have on the women's side. Anyway, but their coach who followed Gueston Core's, Coach McCallie, Coach P, Sarah McCallie, had a good start, a lot of good years. But according to Roy, things had really gone south, and the Dukies just let her hang on. Mercifully, she's finally gone. So do you know who the very new Duke women's basketball coach is? I think I mentioned this on the course.
I hope you still can say the very lovely. She's a very lovely, pretty gal.
Carol Lawson, I think I've got her name right.
Former
Celtic assistant coach
for the last 2 years.
And I guess got very good word. The Celtic players, I guess, loved her. And it was cool. I saw a picture in the paper for a going away party from Boston as she headed down to Durham, NC. All the players and staff had Duke women's basketball T-shirts, but again, it sounds like a top-notch
Brad Stevens
lady.
liked her,
and
I always thought if there was ever going to be the first woman head basketball coach in the NBA, it might be her.
So it sounds like Duke has scored big time here.
You know, the problem with Duke is once you get there, you don't want to leave.
She may never leave.
You know, if she has some success. Maybe she can get into the NBA, but
again, she played her college ball under Pat
college
Summitt.
Program. Is more inviting than a pro sport game.
So I wish her. I suspect she'll do well. But she played under Pat Summitt at Tennessee, former WNBA player. Anyway, but sounds like just a top-notch person.
So
Duke, good luck
with women's basketball over the years. It was Kentucky with like 89 wins.
Women's basketball.
Women's basketball.
Well, you don't mean or how about UConn?
Like Connecticut, UConn.
You just said Kentucky. I thought you just said Kentucky.
I'm sorry, I meant UConn.
Okay,
right.
UConn.
And I remember there was an article, is Connecticut bad for women's basketball?
Jen Shaughnessy got into that saying.
Right.
I said, gee, Dan, how about blaming all the other colleges for not coming up? You're blaming what's Gino Auriemma supposed to do? Purposely. I mean, you actually give me kind of the same grief, in a sense, about Coach K, because he gets all these one and done.
Right, I do give you grief.
Well, what's he supposed to do, Hawk? Not go after your best player? And again, as I've said before, I certainly agree. He should mix in a couple folks who are likely to. And actually, last year was a kind of a veteran team. They did have a bunch of players who had been around for a few years. But anyway, I thought Shaughnessy's criticism was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But UConn's been so
Yeah.
dominant.
Now, the good thing in the college basketball, the state of college, it's not good. I mean, ratings are paltry compared to the way it used to be.
I guess
And I
level of play has probably gone down.
Level of play is horrible.
Way down.
And I always bring up the heyday of college basketball is when Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, Grant Hill. I mean, in the perfect scenario, you got to love somebody and you got to hate somebody. There was no gray area with the Duke Blue Devils.
Doesn't seem to be much gray area.
Okay, and they played together for 4 years, and it was mostly hatred. Because Duke gets the bad rap for being the elitist school.
Which epitomized by ESPN's great show on why we hate Christian Laettner. Christian gets into that. Good show.
Yeah, but that was fun back then. Now, the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the one and dones. The good thing about college basketball this year, there were 3 top prospects that signed with the G League. They're not eligible to go into the NBA. 18-year-old kids just out of high school, but they would sign like $500,000 contracts to play with the G League. Don't take a seat out of the chemistry department like they go to chemistry. Let a real student go there. And that's what I really hope is in the future, and colleges won't be happy about it. But if you have no interest staying in college for more than a year, don't come. Go play with the G League, bid your time for that one season, then you're eligible for the June draft. And it's true. I give Duke all kinds of grief.
You do
every year, and I
it hasn't destroyed our friendship, but we certainly do.
I can guarantee you, come November, I'm going to give you the same grief.
I'm sure you will. Which I think is unfair. Again, you're Coach K's here. Talk to me.
You have the legitimate retort.
Nighthawk. I hear you've been bad rapping me for years on your sports show up in St. Albans, Vermont. You tell me what should I just ignore the top player? What should I do?
Okay. My suggestion to college basketball, and I will go way back, even you can remember, because I can remember, freshmen were not allowed to play varsity.
Sure, tell me about
sport.
my best times at Duke early on. We're watching the freshman basketball games.
Now,
likes of Gary Melchione, who was more fun than the varsity games.
Back in the day, for your older folks, UCLA dominated college basketball for like 15 years. And I remember, if maybe it was Bill Walton, they asked him, what was the toughest game you played all year? And he said, without hesitating, our freshman team.
Oh, freshman team. I thought you were going to say when we practiced.
Right, because freshmen were not allowed to play.
Oh, I remember the freshman games so well.
And, I'm the type of guy, if you go to an institution, you have to earn your way in. Not because you have a nice 30-foot jump shot. Is you go in, you do your studies, and let's see if you're eligible to play basketball by attaining a 2.5 GPA.
No, so you're saying a ton of the athletic scholarships given out all over the country should do away with them?
I say give it to them.
That might not be a crazy idea, but good luck.
They need to be students their first year. They can practice, do whatever, but
boy, if you think you're going to pull that off, and think about football. How do you think Big Ten needs?
Well, let me ask you something.
The Alabamas.
Your kid Ian.
How do they fund the university by the gazillions they make from football?
Okay. Your kid Ian, who I know fairly well, is not a smart kid, but a super smart kid.
Well,
okay, now say he wants to take after his old man and say, Dad, you know what? I think I want to go to Duke.
And I would say, just check what Duke costs these days. Last time I checked, $78,000 a year. I'd love for you to go there in a way, but maybe we should consider some alternatives.
Right.
I've got a college fund for you, and I've got you maybe 1 year at Duke at this point.
But just say, and the smartest, he didn't get into Duke. Then you saw some guy get in that barely can write 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Okay. I want the best of the brightest kids in school, and that's now. again, I tell you this all, I would rather go to a UVM basketball game. I don't care if Duke and Carolina were playing next door.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I know at UVM, these kids are going to play all 4 years.
Absolutely.
And they
Which is
all
great.
go to class.
Yeah.
And
They seem to be great kids and also pretty decent basketball players, too.
yeah.
Oh, I hear you.
And that's just the way, and I think a lot of people are starting to think the way I do. I knew it was going to be kind of an easy show to get through tonight. The Lake Monsters. For the people out there that have enjoyed the Vermont Lake Monsters over the years,
think of your memories.
they're done. They're over with. Now, one of the topics going on late winter, early spring was 42 minor league teams were going to be displaced. Is that
Right, this is even before the pandemic,
before the pandemic.
MLB came out saying, hey, we're getting rid of, something like
And
that.
Vermont plays in the Penn League.
New York Penn League, and about half of those guys were gone.
A half season.
Including even the Red Sox affiliate, the Lowell Spinners, who sell out every game.
Right. So they were one of the first leagues. See ya. And I've often questioned, you don't need that many minor league teams. So I had no qualms about it. And I always told him when we'd go to a Monster game, the average is the team you're watching right now, there'll be one player that might come up for a cup of coffee. These weren't.
That said, for the record, some very, very good players have gone through Burlington. But you're
back in the day,
any given game, you may be looking at a couple major future major leaguers.
When they were a farm team,
they were even double A for a
double A,
while,
which
with
is
Cincinnati,
even bigger than triple A, because today your top players play double A, the young ones. Your veterans usually play Triple A.
So assuming baseball, as we used to know, it comes back, what are they going to do with the players they draft? They've got to do something with them. So if they're going to lop off all these lower minor league teams, what do they do?
Good question.
Just have a few, like one Class A team somewhere? Or?
Good question, my friend. This past June, the amateur draft. Do you know how many rounds they had?
Didn't they just go down to 5?
They had 5 rounds.
As opposed to like 20, 30, 40?
About 30 rounds in the past.
Unbelievable.
So there you go.
Okay. But they're still going to have X number of very young players. What do they do with them?
Well,
will there be one Class A team somewhere?
That is what I think will happen.
Yeah.
And the players playing there are players that they deem have potential.
Or maybe Florida, they have some teams there.
A strong single, like Florida's got a lot of, like Vermont does, short season. I just don't see them coming back. Now, something could change. I don't know, because a lot of things in this world
but I'm just saying, they've got to do something with the, even if it's just 5 rounds over 3, 4, they've got to do something with these kids.
Well,
but now Lake Monsters we'll never, it'll never be back.
I can answer your question.
Form.
All the players on the Lake Monsters last year, there's probably not more than one of them that would come back to play a higher level.
And don't ask me, I couldn't name one of them.
Exactly. Right. So that's they have no problem.
But I'm just saying, they're still going to draft X number of people.
It'll be a lot less rounds. Yes, sir.
But they got to do something with these people.
Yeah. You look at hockey.
I guess just way, way less teams, especially at the low level, maybe.
Well, the two sports that are fortunate.
Of course, football is so lucky. Just pick
basketball.
College and basketball. Right.
Division I college is your minor league system.
Right.
Daniel Jones plays for Duke.
Right.
Bang, drafted first round, 6th overall by the Giants.
Right.
So here he is at Duke University in May.
Yeah.
Bang, a couple weeks later, he's at Giant.
Someone who, for the record, left 1 year early. But I bet Daniel Jones, something tells me, I think he left Duke a year early. I think he was, but I bet he'll get his Duke degree at some point.
Yeah, the guy's smart. Now, quickly, just some tidbits here. The only other news on the Giants, Aldrich Rojas, the Giants kicker, all-pro kicker, 2018, a bum last year.
Yeah.
They cut him the other day. He had 3 counts, misdemeanor count of DUI, hit and run, and something else. And DeAndre Baker has got aggravated assault accounts. Him and Quinton Dunbar, defensive back of the Seattle Seahawks, apparently robbed
Really?
Some people,
Really?
they played cards or something. They lost like $85,000,
Huh.
and they came back brandishing
Really?
weapons. So, he's not around. Baseball. You and I have agreed we do not like the DH.
Right, so
However,
I'm right. Of
let me
course,
give-
and now you're watching DHs
right,
with your
and
guys.
I'm saying this year for a 60-game schedule,
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah.
Experiment, anything
Yeah.
goes. I think DH will probably
Of course,
stay.
another experiment: extra innings. When someone's on second base
Yeah,
to
you start 10th inning and second base.
Oh.
So, if you want to make an argument for the DH in the baseball playoffs last year, pitchers batted 1 for 60.
1 for 60.
Yeah. So that might be a convincing argument.
I guess. Although again, we just talk about American League managers with a good team. Do they even need to have a manager? I mean, National League, you still have to decide when you pull your
right.
pitcher, double shifts.
Yep.
So even that. But I'm a dime. So you're a little more comfortable with DH
I think
now?
it was a good year to experiment in the National League.
Well, pitchers are never going to be hitting again.
Right. And speaking of managers, good segue. Old friend John McNamara,
Yeah.
age 88, passed away
Oh, is that
today.
right? Oh, really?
If Red Sox fans will remember the epic 1986 World Series against the New York Mets.
Well, I think I was with the then wife or then soon-to-be wife, and I almost think we were in Bermuda or somewhere and totally freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, and of course, and you're absolutely right. People kept blaming the late Bill Buckner. That was
give me
Game
a
6. They had a Game 7, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Should I mention for the millionth time that had he made it was a tie game. They don't necessarily win the game.
Yeah.
I'm glad people take such notice of such things.
Yeah. Now, were not the Red Sox ahead in Game 7?
No, absolutely.
Was it 4-1,
Into the seventh,
something like that?
Bruce Hurst pitching, I think. Yeah, late 3-1, 4-1, maybe even into the 7th inning or so.
Was
yes,
it
absolutely.
Calvin Schiraldi came in? I can't remember.
Calvin Schiraldi blew the game.
Okay,
there.
Game 6.
The Bill Buckner game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
those are great memories. But hey, Red Sox, hard to complain. 3 championships since 2000 or 4? Am I 3 or 4? 3 anyway.
The Red Sox?
Right.
I think 3 World Series.
3 anyway.
Yeah.
Not 4.
Yeah,
The
and-
most of any team, I think,
Yeah,
still.
I certainly do not feel bad for Red Sox fans having a down year.
I just feel
nor-
bad they're playing.
Right, nor the Patriots. I mean,
Oh,
it
sure.
looks like they're going to have a down year, and I blame it more so, again, as we spoke earlier, on the opt-outs versus the quarterback position.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. But football, geez, like, again, don't hold your breath. We'll see if football holds together. And baseball, don't you think baseball just needs one more Marlins
Yes, sir.
situation? One more like that, they're gone.
Agreed.
Or they ought to be gone.
agreed, and it's staggering. I mentioned 16 players, and our caller said they had another one today. They're up
Really?
to 17 players
Wow.
with this COVID.
Wow.
So I don't.
Yeah, but I
they're-
think this was...
And they're supposed to start playing next Monday again with the series with the Nationals playing in Miami, postponed. I know.
really taking a chance.
Yeah, I mean, the Nats just simply did not want to go in the clubhouse down there, and
Yeah.
so.
No, I don't beat up my David Price, one of my least favorite major sports figures, but I don't blame him at all for. And I should give David. I've given him enough abuse. I will give him credit. I think he would have been nice had he done the same to the Red Sox. But anyway, I think he gave each Dodger minor leaguer $1,000.
He did? Okay.
For not, let me say, for beating up this guy a whole lot. That was a very nice gesture. I think he can probably afford it pretty easily. That's said, a nice gesture.
One thing I did bring up with football, which if you're a street free agent, there's no preseason football
Right,
games.
no preseason football.
And a guy that comes in, signs undrafted,
Yeah.
how is he
Right.
going to show his stuff in a game situation?
Yeah.
Because I know the Giants generally sign 2 guys they
Yeah.
did not draft just as a free agent.
Hey, if you go back to the Pats, if you're Jarrett Stidham, and Belichick's pretty good about, hey, if you win the job, you win the job. They've
Yeah.
signed at least one undrafted free agent for like 15 straight years. I mean, hey, you impressed me. That's all you have to do. But Jared Stidham, I mean, good luck with Cam Newton on the team now.
Well, let me
good luck
ask
for
you.
Stidham beating out Cam Newton for the starting
As
job.
a Patriot fan,
Yeah.
you tell me who's going to take the snap.
No, Cam Newton. They're not
You
going to.
really think it's
no,
gonna be
because I
Newton?
think, Belichick. It's all, hey, is it Brady or Belichick? We'll see who is the key guy now. And I think Belichick really likes Jared Stidham. I mean, I hardly know the guy, but he gets good words from people. But Cam Newton, Cam Newton gets.
So you're believing that it's not an open competition?
No, I think it's. I'm just saying. I think it's a competition. But Cam Newton, with his track record, pretty good if you go back before his injuries. Against a guy who threw a couple passes and one quote at the end of one real game. I mean, I think it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a real competition. But I think Cam wins it.
Yeah, and all I can tell you, we're almost done here. I watched quite a bit of Stidham last year in the preseason.
Yeah, and you said he looked very good in preseason.
And
He
to
gets
his
hung for one
defense,
bad pass at the end of a real
that
game.
meant nothing.
Right.
He played for Auburn, which is a very conservative offense.
Yeah.
Tigers have a good football program down there. And, of course, Darius Slayton, Stidham was picked in the 4th round. The Giants got the receiver Darius Slayton out of Auburn in the 5th round. Not a heralded career, but again, not many balls thrown his way. He was the Giants' best receiver last year. So, Duke, that is it.
Oh, good job. Good to see us back here. Good to see you back here. Thanks to Alan, too.
So, for Alan, my good friend Duke Forrest, I'm the Nighthawk. It's great to be back. Till next Wednesday, everyone. Please remember, you don't have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.
See ya.